Tough guys wear pink. Kirby in the Forgotten Land kicks so much ass, alright? Let's just get that out of the way. I haven't played many Kirby games in the past, with, I believe, Kirby Triple Deluxe for the 3DS being the only Kirby game that I played, but holy crap. This new 3D platforming Kirby game is pure platforming bliss, which is something we haven't seen much of in the industry recently. Kirby in the Forgotten Land is one of the most accessible and enjoyable games on the Switch right now, and it has a lot more depth and bite than what it appears to be on the surface. Don't let this cute little ball of pink vacuum bubblegum throw you off. Behind its adorable surface and colorful environments is a finely crafted, charming, and varied platforming game that stands among the very best games you can play on the Nintendo Switch. The Forgotten Land starts off with Kirby ending up in a different world from his own. A world that shows no human life in a post-apocalyptic urban environment. Post-apocalyptic Kirby, you ask me? Yeah, you heard that right. This game went full-out Fallout, but instead of disgustingly mutated mole rats... Whoa. Get the fuck... Okay, that was weird. But instead of those vile creatures, you've got traditional Kirby enemies running around these long-abandoned urban environments. These levels play out in a very linear fashion, but in the first time ever for the series, it plays in 3D. Now the camera is fixed for the most part, which gives you some wiggle room to move the camera around slightly with the right analog stick, but for the most point, this is a traditional 3D linear adventure game. There are sections of this game reminiscent of the side-scrolling levels of its heritage, but for the most part, you will be looking at Kirby's little butt the entire time, as he sucks and morphs his way through levels. These levels are a joy to play through as well, and although these levels are post-apocalyptic in theme, there is still the same amount of vibrant color and cheerful whimsical flair added to them to make this art style and color scheme still feel very much in the same vein of past Kirby titles. You will be going through anywhere from abandoned cities, to fighting primates atop its rooftops, to leisurely swimming among tropical waters, to fending off waves of strong adversaries atop volcanoes, and more. Although I am only showing you gameplay of the first two worlds in this video, there is enough variation in its backdrops to itch your lust for geographical diversity by rewarding you new areas quite frequently. As far as difficulties are concerned, there is the normal default setting and a hard mode called Wild Mode. I played the entirety of the game on Wild Mode, and although the game was quite simple for me as a seasoned player of platforming games, there were plenty of difficult moments in some of the later levels that had me retry levels to complete their special objective for Waddle Dees. For more seasoned gamers, you can't go wrong with Wild Mode. Each of these levels contains numerous collectibles in the form of Waddle Dees to collect, more on them later, copyability blueprints, and figurines, which are fun collectibles that represent the items, monsters, and props of Kirby's adventures. Kirby still plays much as you remember, as he can jump and hover through the air, suck up enemies, and expel them to inflict some pretty massive damage, and even morph into some awesome new forms via the copy ability, just like the older titles. Like I said, this is very much a Kirby game, but just shifted into the 3D perspective. There are about a dozen copy abilities in the game, ranging from Gunslinger to Swordmaster, to Frosty the Kirby Man, to Drill Master, and much more. All these copy abilities play differently from one another and are useful in their own right and balanced very well. Some abilities allow you to move around with much more speed and finesse, whereas other abilities make you slow, but incredibly deadly. For the most part, you can choose your favorite copy ability and play through the game as you'd like, but there are some areas that require you to use a specific ability to progress through some of the game's many stages. Don't fret though, because these abilities are readily available for you to prevent backtracking to find the specific ability needed to progress. In addition to the copy abilities, there are plenty of objects in the game world that emit a sparkle that Kirby can suck to adhere himself to the object, turning him into the object. These are really fun moments, as Kirby can transform into a car, a cone, a hang glider, and many more, with each playing incredibly differently from one another. These sections add incredible variation to levels, leading to some truly spectacular platforming sections better left for you to discover. Along with each of these copy abilities you obtain from enemies, you can find various blueprints throughout each of the levels to upgrade these abilities into more powerful variations. You can think of these like the 3-tiered Pokemon evolutions. Each copy ability can be upgraded 3 times via these blueprints, and these upgrades are substantial, usually increasing your attack and the area of effectiveness by quite a bit. Definitely seek these out. Once beating the game, you can upgrade these copy abilities even further by adding to their attack power, giving you further customization with your favorite abilities. You can upgrade each copy ability by obtaining rare stones, a source you get by completing optional levels found in the overworld map. These levels are very short and often focus on one gameplay element, like shooting targets within the time limit or defeating enemies before reaching the stone. These stages have a time limit, which are pretty forgiving, but there is an additional reward of netting you bonus coins for clearing these within a targeted time limit, which can result in some pretty harrowing finishes. These optional levels showcase some of the very best gameplay Kirby in the Forgotten Land has on offer, and the rewards for completing these levels are more than worth it since they hold the rare stone, which is your main upgrade material to evolve your copy abilities. Now, where do you do the upgrading, you ask? Well, you do that in Waddle Dee Town, the game's central hub. When you start the game, this town is pretty barren and doesn't offer you much, but the more Waddle Dees you rescue in each of the levels has a direct impact on the expansion of Waddle Dee Town. With each Waddle Dee you collect and rescue, your town will grow from a small retreat to a bustling village, home to plenty of useful activities, items, and mini-games you can partake in. Quite early in the story, you will unlock Waddle Dee's weapon shop. It is here that you can redeem those blueprints you found in the levels to upgrade your abilities at the expense of your rare stones. Also here in Waddle Dee Town are some mini-games you can partake in, like a fishing minigame, a coliseum, a marble maze minigame using gyro controls, and more. Each minigame has various difficulty levels to them and are each fun and rewarding in their own right. While in Waddle Dee Town, you can also do things like talk to some NPCs to get assistance for hints on finding your next blueprint, view the game's cutscenes, among many more things. Keep returning to Waddle Dee Town to unlock more of the game's features, as this place just keeps on getting livelier the more you play. After finishing the game, you unlock more content in Waddle Dee Town, and even more levels to play, greatly increasing the length of this game for the completionists out there. Kirby in the Forgotten Land is pure platforming excellence, and is about as awesome a first 3D venture for Kirby as you could ask for. The amount of content in the game is just right, being priced at $60. The game takes about 12 hours or more to finish its main story content, with an additional 7 to 10 hours to complete everything else in collecting all Waddle Dees and figurines. There is plenty here to satisfy any fan of platformers, as it stands as one of the Switch's best platformers on the system. If you were worried that this game was going to fall flat and offer a subpar platforming experience, then let this put your worries aside. Kirby in the Forgotten Land is a truly excellent Kirby game, and is a game that new and seasoned platformers will greatly enjoy.